Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some post-patch tactics to show you guys today in regards to the stuff that I use given every single situation in the game. So, first and foremost, I do have to mention that it's obviously going to be the two most effective formations in this game, and that is going to be the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-4-2, but just in different variations. I feel like, from my general experience of playing this game, I just don't like using other formations. Back in the day when I used to play drafts all the time, and I used to play like 2,000, 3,000 plus matches on it, I felt like I was able to use different formations, but I feel like this year the meta is so linear, and the way that your players move is so, not, I wouldn't say the way that your players move is linear, but the way that your players behave in certain situations meta-wise, it just makes more sense for you to use these two formations. It's unfortunate, it is what it is, but it is a way for you to be able to fully perform to the best of your abilities. Now, I will, in the future, try to figure out some different formations and tactics for you guys, but there is a meta in this game, it exists, and these are the formation tactics that I like to use given the situation of the game, right? So first and foremost, we have the new 4-4-2 tactics that I've been using. So I actually saw this from Gorilla's channel, right? So be sure to go check out his video for that. But this 4-4-2 tactic, guys, I'm telling you this right now, it's probably one of the best formations and tactics that I've used this year. It's probably the best one. It's this one and this 4-2-3-1 that I have because of the types of players that I have in the club, right? So we got the defense set on 4 for width and 6 for depth. The reason for this is because 4-4-2 by default is already a very wide formation. So the width, you're not really bothered by the width when playing in this game, right? Because here's what happens with this formation and what you notice in game, and we'll talk about it over the highlights, is that when your attacks width is set really high, and then you have your defenses width set really low, when you have your left mids and right mids to come back in defense, it actually compensates sometimes for your width in the defense being low because of the cards coming back. Now, it's mostly ideal to have like the high work rate of players in the left mid and right mid position, but you do the best you can given the circumstances that you're in, and we're definitely going to be talking about the types of players that you want to have in your club to be able to rotate them as much as you really want, right? So we have this set to 4 and 6 balance. We're going to set to 7 and 5 with the instructions of stay back while attacking overlap for the fullbacks. We have the attacking or box-to-box oriented midfielder in Hector Herrera being a high work rated player. I use him because of FC Porto past and present, you know the vibes. We use him on cover center, while we have the more defensive oriented player on stay back while attacking cover center. Now, there's no right or wrong instruction to give both of your center mids. Actually, you can potentially put both of them on balanced instructions because of the way that this team moves on the attack, right? Because if they have a great attacking and defensive presence, the way that they push up the field and come back is really good. In Gorilla's case, he uses Renato Sanchez and Aouar's card. If you guys remember the review from Aouar when we checked out his freeze card, I mentioned to you guys how I didn't even use him as a striker because I knew that for the longevity of that card, I didn't really see him being used in the striker position that much. However, in the center mid position, that's where he was being fully utilized to the maximum of his potential, right? So a card like Aouar being the more attacking oriented player with Renato Sanchez being attacking and defensive oriented is definitely a pretty good combination. But then you can go with the combination that I have for my main team, which is stay back while attacking for De Jong and then Hector Perez on balance. So you could do that. You can kind of work with the high work rates in the center mid position, and that would also work out nicely. On the sides, we have both of the left mid and right mid to come back in defense, and then the two strikers we have get in behind and come back in defense. Now, let me tell you guys something right now with this 4-4-2, okay? The two biggest positions in this team is going to be your strikers and your center mids. So what's going to be very important is going to be having players that are as meta as possible in those positions. As you guys know, I absolutely despise of João Felix in the striker position. I do not like him there. On the get behind instruction, there are certain spaces that I want him to utilize that he just doesn't, right? Rashford is a better striker than João Felix in regards to attacking AI stuff because he feels more natural there, but obviously if you have players like Kylian Mbappe, Cristiano Ronaldo, those guys always utilize empty space really well in the attacking AI, especially if you have the get in behind instruction on those two cards. But you guys will even see from these highlights that João Felix is very strange, but he's not fully strange because of the other tactics, right? So That's going to be it for the 4-4-2. We switch mostly between these little two formations right here, okay? So we have this 4-2-3-1 variation, which I think I've already done a review for at the time with the best 4-2-3-1 in tactics and instructions, where I have it set to 4-4 for the defense, 4 and 5 for the players in the box and the attack. And then the instructions that I have set for this team is stay back while attacking for the fullbacks, cut passing lane, stay back, cover center for the CDMs, all of the cams on comeback, and then the striker is left on balance because I want to utilize Rashford's attacking AI because of the way that João Felix moves on the pitch. Now, as you guys know, I love João Felix in that cam position. The reason being for this is because of the way that Rashford's attacking AI works. What's important for your 4-2-3-1, guys, because, you know, your left attacking mid, your right attacking mid, sometimes they're going to be generic. Not Robin. Robin's really nice, right? But Dembele's rare gold card is a little bit annoying, right? But the important thing with the 4-2-3-1 is the combination play between your cam and your striker. When you make a pass, you have to immediately see how the player moves once he makes that pass. And from some of these goal scoring opportunities, you guys will see me switch to the 4-2-3-1, and you'll see how João Felix and Rashford occupy each other's positions, because João Felix in the cam position, he drops back, and then the way that he pushes forward to utilize empty space is amazing, right? So you guys will definitely see that during the highlights, and we'll talk about it as it's happening. We have this one. We have the long ball 4-2-3-1 variation, where I actually want to force some runs out of my player because I feel like my opponent is more vulnerable in defense. So it just makes more sense for me to push these guys out as much as possible. So you can see that I don't touch the cams on comeback and defense. We don't have that type of instruction on them. For the CDMs, we also keep them on balance. And then the fullbacks, we also keep on balance as well. So this formation really depends on the situation of the game, right? Like if I'm attacking and I need to attack more, then I have a 4-2-3-1 variation that allow me to do that, right? And then this 4-4-2 tactic is going to be set for the new meta of FIFA. So when I defend, guys, I actually don't have a super defensive formation or tactic to be able to waste time, because honestly, like, you do still waste time when it's like the last 5 or 6 minutes as much as you possibly can, because you guys know in the last few minutes of the game, there's like this thing in the game where your players, if your dribbling was worse before because your gameplay was bad in the beginning of the game, it'll be worse in the last 5 to 10 minutes, right? So you have to be very careful with that. I usually like to use the regular 4-2-3-1 just to be able to defend and just play normal FIFA. But this tactic right here is going to be very important for when the team press nerf comes in, okay? Because when that team press nerf comes in and they decrease the time, I believe it's from 20 seconds to 15 seconds or 15 seconds to 10 seconds, you are 100% gonna come across people that are gonna waste time in their own area. I was using this 4-4-2 variation the other day against this one opponent, and what he did is he was literally in his own 18-yard box, and you guys saw the instructions that I have for these players, and my players did not put pressure on them even with the current team press tactic. So it's going to be very important for you to have this constant pressure tactic. Now, it sucks because the way that it benefits the other person for you to commit more is really, really high. It's super, super high, right? But it is what it is. You kind of have to do it to be able to get the ball back and not necessarily have a huge issue with that. So those are the tactics that I use, guys. For me personally, these are the best tactics that I've used in FIFA so far this year. And a big reason for that is because of the types of players you have, which we will talk about right now. So this Kleiber card, by the way, as I told you guys, man, if you guys didn't do this little link up right here on the right side, I don't know if you guys even want to have fun in this game anymore, okay? We have like Varane and Koundé and whatever. Varane is there because of the French links as well as him being amazing, obviously. And then we have like Herrera for FC Porto, Portugal, then Dembele's there just because of links, right? But hopefully in the future, if they don't release another card that's similar to Gonzalo Guedes, just pretty generic to be honest, then it would definitely be very nice. So in this team right here, you can see that all of my attackers actually have 5-star skills, right? 5-star skills in this FIFA is so, so important. Being able to do like a fake Rabona Croqueta skill move combo, being able to do the scoop turn to move into positions really quickly is a very nice thing to have in this game, right? Even just the L trigger fake shot looking forward, he does like this little scoop thing and then he pushes the ball forward. And again, another very helpful tactic to have. So let's talk about the types of players that you have in this team and what you want to work with, right? So you want to have, in my opinion, one card who is defensive oriented in the midfield and then one card who is attacking and defensive oriented. That's what we have to work with in regards to De Jong and Hector Herrera. I don't rate Hector Herrera highly because of his dribbling stats being at a 78 for agility, 74 for balance. But if this card obviously gets improved in the future due to Atletico Madrid maybe beating Chelsea, it would be a really sick card to use in that midfield position. He works well in the CDM position as well because he is a 6'1" player with high work rates and great defensive qualities, right? So it makes a lot of sense to use a card like this in the team. Now, up top in the striker position, the reason why I don't like João Felix, and I think this is the biggest reason why I don't like him, is because of his medium work rates. His medium work rates with his attacking AI, I hate in the striker position. I absolutely hate it, right? But with someone like Rashford, who has the pace, has the shooting, has the dribbling is a little bit weird with him because of base characteristics, right? But he is a high medium work rate player. So the way that he utilizes that empty space is significantly better. I actually don't remember a medium work rate player in the striker position that I actually really liked, right? In regards to utilizing the meta and whatnot. Robin, very similar situation. He's on medium low for work rates, which honestly doesn't really affect the card that much. His attacking AI is pretty good, as we mentioned in the review. Give him the finisher chemistry style on the right side in the right mid position, or right side in the right attacking mid position. Utilizing that finesse shot trait as well as that outside foot shot trait is a beautiful thing to have. The 2-star weak foot genuinely doesn't bother me with this card. In some situations, it may hey, maybe I wanted to shoot this opportunity, but it doesn't even feel like he has a 2-star weak foot because of his base characteristics of 88 shot power, 87 finishing with the finisher chemistry style. It actually feels like his shooting is significantly better on that right side. And then we have Dembele being the left-footed player on the left side, which, he does work for me time to time, but the only problem that I have with this card right now is that his attacking AI is inconsistent. It's 50-50. His freeze card is significantly better in that area, but it's the stamina being at a 68 for comeback and defense is, it's a little bit questionable. So if you can work with another 5-star skiller, or, maybe you can go with like Ansu Fati's player of the month if you still have that, or Eden Hazard, it would definitely work out the best. Now, the fullback area, you got your Kleiber, who's, look at his card, right? He's 6 foot tall. He's got great dribbling stats with defense, physical, beautiful card, right? Alex tells us there because of FC Porto as well as the link up to Rashford. So, but he's still a really good card. His dribbling is a tiny bit off in regards to certain opportunities, but makes up for it with the pace, great defensive presence, as well as the high work rates, right? So high work rates, high medium work rates, definitely ideal. Center backs, we obviously use the meta of having tall-ish players because Koundé is a 5'10" player, while having Varane on the medium-high 6'3". With the goalie, actually on the custom tactics, and Huge Gorilla actually put me on this right here. From his videos. It's the comes for crosses and sweeper keeper on the goalkeepers because of those through balls being super effective. So those are the custom tactics that we use, guys. We're going to go ahead and show you guys the highlights, and we're going to talk about each individual play and what my thought process is when I'm doing what I do in game. Okay, guys, so let's talk about the switches, right? Because you don't always use the 4-4-2. You don't always use the 4-2-3-1. It's really important to understand when you need to switch between both of the formations. So the reason why I like this combination play between both of them is because it really depends on the situation of the game. So if I feel like I need to utilize the width more because my opponent is more narrow, that's when I use that 4-4-2 tactic. If I feel like I can utilize the middle space more against my opponent because, he's defending more to the width because he thinks I'm going to keep using the 4-4-2, then I'll switch to my 4-2-3-1. So like I said, guys, the tactics that I switch to mostly is going to be the ultra attacking one and the attacking one given the circumstances of the game, right? So a really cool thing with this team and the way that it moves is having Herrera being that balanced midfield in that 4-4-2, because a lot of the buildup that you'll see is me kind of coming backwards and working with the midfielders making those runs. So in a situation like this, you can see that because Herrera was kind of utilizing an attacking space in the middle, it actually opened up the space for Dembele on the side because the fullback started to track Herrera's movement through the middle. Situation like this, we do that nice little skill move, which I'm going to be doing a tutorial on in the future. That skill move, which is basically the you hold L1 and then you flick your right stick from side to side, it allows you to hit a finesse shot really nicely, right? So that skill move we'll definitely be teaching in the future, because again, like I said, it's very effective. It's that and the ball roll to hit more consistent finesse shots, which is super nice. This through ball is absolutely ridiculous. I wish I can delete that from memory. Like, I even shook my head because of how terrible it was, but the through balls work that way, unfortunately, this year. You get very unrewarding goals from it, right? So you could see over here what I'm doing is I'm building up the play and waiting for my attacking AI to get back into position. So you can see that's the combination with the finesse shot, the ball roll finesse shot instantly. You want to try your best to not take a settled touch once you do those two skill moves, right? The ball roll, finesse shots, the little flick skill move, and then finesse shots. So again, very important to understand how to attack. So the way that I like to attack is I like to wait for the space in the middle to open up, right? So a lot of the times when I'm building on my play, I like to go backwards from the sides, then go into the middle to utilize the middle positions, because again, this is the big reason why when I'm doing the play reviews, I'm always looking at attacking AI. Which areas of the pitch does it make sense to use specific cards because of their base characteristics? I think base characteristics is a hugely important thing to have in this game. So you could see from this goal scoring opportunity right here, we're actually using the 4-4-2, but both João Felix and Rashford are kind of poorly positioned to be able to hit a nice little consistent strike right there. So you kind of have to work with what you're given. Over here, we're working with some good build-up play. We work with the 4-4-2. We do a nice little tap shot. The goalie ends up saving it. The defender takes it into the nets, because this gameplay that you guys are going to be seeing here, not a single one of these games were at least decent, good, or great. It was actually the worst version of the game. So a lot of these stupid things are going to happen, obviously, especially if the gameplay isn't up to par, which is why we do those rants all the time, right? But another important thing to analyze is the type of team your opponent is working with. Now, it's mostly going to be 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2. You could see in a situation like this on the 4-4-2 instruction that it actually works out to my benefit to have João Felix on that getting behind instruction to make that angled run. We do the first time fake shot, wasn't a fake shot cancel, and we actually ended up getting a reaction from both the defender and the goalkeeper in that situation, which actually worked out best for us. But yeah, guys, it's a lot of just understanding when you have to switch between both formations. So you can see that the width in this team right now is actually set up from a 4-2-3-1 because of how João Felix moves in that cam position. So watch this little combination play right here as João and Rashford, right? Being able to make that pass and then utilize that empty space immediately is very, very important. And that's what João Felix offers me in my team when I have him in the cam position. So I sacrifice how he feels in that 4-4-2 area because of how beautiful he is in that cam spot, guys. So these are the tactics that I like to use post-patch, now, all that good stuff. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I'll catch you guys for the next one. If you guys want to see any more tutorials in the future,